the music lives on, the memories
Yes, it
live on,
does.
and when you produce, like to me, I've seen what it takes to put a theme song together, and my kudos to you because from what I've seen, you're talking to the writer, the producer, the lead singer. It's weeks process for the average person. There's a little tweak here. Let's go back to re-record it. We need a longer instrumental here. What's happening at the
Yeah,
end here? To you to do this overnight and make these hits, like brother, this runs through your
yeah.
veins. It's
Well,
fantastic.
a good example I can tell you. It was a kid. Actually, he was. Let me think. He might have just been finishing high school or whatever. And I was working on a rap album with him, and we had been working on stuff in the studio the day that Jimmy came in and goes, "Hey, we need to do a rap song, for the Wolfpack." And I'm like, "Oh," I said, "Well, your timing's good." I said, "I've been in working on some stuff all day." I said, "With this kid," and he goes, "Oh," he says, "Let me hear one of his things, and the rest of it." So I played back one of the things. He goes, "Man, that's perfect. He's the voice on the Wolfpack. He just happened to be at the studio that day. Black kid, like a senior in high
Do you
school.
remember his
Nice
name?
guy." Yeah, LaQuince Henderson.
There you go. The
That's
Quince.
his name. I mean, absolutely a complete. And that was one of the things. Like when it was done, LaQuince was really confused. He's a nice kid, but he goes, "Well," I said, "Well, no." I said, "We're going to pay you." I said, "For what you did today." He goes, "Well, am I going to get paid when this gets played all the time?" And I said, "No, that's not how it works." I said, "But," I said, "for a brand new artist like yourself," I said, "I have the feeling this is going to get a lot of airplay." I didn't realize how much airplay,
That's
right? I
happening.
said, "You can tell anybody and everybody, boom, you're the voice of the Wolfpack." I said, "If that doesn't get interest in your catalog," I said, "I don't know what will." And I don't know what he did. I don't know. I told him, I said, "Man, you could tell anybody you're the voice of the Wolfpack. That's completely fine." I said, "But," I said, "No." I said, "You didn't write it. I mean, but so that's why you can't get anything more." We paid him for the session for the day, and then that was it.
What would you
And
figure? Like
he called
what?
me a couple of big. He saw the broadcast. I mean, he called and
Yeah.
goes, "Yeah, I heard it. I heard it." I said, "Yeah, are you telling your friends that's you?" He goes, "Well, I wasn't really sure it was going to happen that way." "Yeah, I'm going to tell my friends." It's like,
How would you figure LaQuince got paid for that session? Ballpark.
oh,
Couple
couple
hundred?
hundred, couple of $100.
If
You
I
know,
were him, that'd be my ringtone. That'd be my doorbell. That'd be
yeah.
my notifications on my computer. I'd be playing that thing nonstop.
Oh
I'll
yeah.
see. I'll see if I can dig him up. If I can dig him up, we'll bring both of you on together. We'll talk about that recording,
Man, I haven't seen that kid in so long. Who knows what he's doing?
buddy.
You know.
I recorded a baseball docu series called "The Chosen Journey" with Steve Carsey, a former MLB pitcher. I found his
Mhm.
first roommate 30 years ago from St. Catharines, Ontario,
Oh
and
my goodness.
who went on to change sports from baseball to basketball, played with Michael Jordan in The Last Dance, got a ring, reunited them after 30 years. So if I can reunite Steve Carsey and Scott Burrell, we can find LaQuince and reunite him with you.
Oh my goodness.
But we're now going to come to our grand part now.
Yes.
And the one I've been promising myself, promising the fans, Mr. Marcus Alexander Bagwell, Buff Daddy himself, Marc Bagwell. We're going to skip ahead past American Males for a moment. The
Yeah.
Buff Daddy theme song. I want to start now every painstaking detail that you can give me from when did you first hear about it and who came up with it. Let's get started that way.
Oh boy. Um, well, we had done American Males, so if the only way that, or rather, the way it would have gone would have been Jimmy would have come to me and said that, Buff's he's gonna be doing his own thing here, and it was interesting because that song, there really wasn't many themes that were like that. I'm trying to remember now. I think the style of it was probably originally Jimmy's idea. Um, the girl that's singing on it um, is a local Tampa singer that I had done a bunch of stuff with. In fact, I've known her since she was in her early teens. Her name's Jamie Perlow, and I think she still is doing some stuff around, the Tampa area and that, she, anyway, she was, yeah, we had,
you keep in touch with her.
um, I could find her on Facebook or something. Believe it or not, I still actually on Facebook will have a talk with her mom.
Or my, you remember MySpace? Are you on there too? No. I'm
Oh,
joking.
I remember MySpace. Yeah.
So
Anyway,
Jamie,
just that was one of the things. I met Jamie's mother back, way back when I first started my first little studio in Florida, and there was two girls that were doing all these singing competitions and stuff, and I ended up doing a lot of the music for them. Like they would. Well, I'll give you an example. Let's say somebody's going to go and do, they're going to go sing in a thing and do a Whitney Houston song. Well, you couldn't necessarily put your hands on a quote karaoke version of the Whitney Houston song back then. And then if they wanted to change the key or the speed or anything like that, that's when they would come to me. Howard, can you redo this so that it sounds like Whitney Houston, but we need it changed this way? And I started doing that. So that's how I had met them. And so then later on, when we had put we put Buff Daddy together, when I called Jamie, I mean, she was really quick. I mean, that girl was sharp. She's got perfect pitch, and she's just like, I mean, I don't think she was in the studio 2 hours. I mean, she came in, she heard what the parts were, and then nailed it. It was a lot of fun.
did you videotape that at the time or not?
No,
I knew you didn't tape it.
No, we didn't. In fact, I don't.
Howard, if you had the video footage of all these recordings and we could have made an album, oh, buddy, we'd be making a mint on that.
Oh, I know. No, we never did. We never did any of that. There was nothing. I don't remember us videoing anything. Because of course it was before the days of everybody and his dog having a video recorder on their phone.
But there was such a thing. You could have done like an 8-track or something.
Oh,
but
sure, we could have. Yeah, we could have. It just was kind of like it wasn't really on our radar too much. But we did start. We did start getting busy. We had, when we did. I know it was a big deal when what's his name came back to fight Hulk, Ultimate Warrior. And the wrestler,
god awful match. Yes.
Jim Hellwig, I think is his name. Anyways, he flew in from Phoenix.
Yes.
And he spent 2 days. Now that was one where we spent a lot of time on that theme, and that would have been something that would have been worthwhile to video, because we really did spend a lot of time with him and Jimmy and there was a guitar player for a long time that I used for a lot of those things named Ralph Santalla. Ralph's passed now. And then the latter part of the stuff we did, it was Jim Morris, actually, from the studio. The chief engineer there. That was used to be one of the things when I found out early, he and I are about the same age, and I found out he played guitar, and then I found out later that he really plays guitar. He doesn't just play guitar, he really plays guitar. And so I thought, well, this is the easiest thing in the world, because most of those themes, everything that's on the recordings is me, except for the guitars. Everything's on there. I did the drums, the bass, the key on almost all the themes. That's me.
So back to Buff Daddy.
Buff's
back to Buff is the stuff. The girls just can't get enough.
Yeah.
I'm simply delicious. So we have the female singer on there. You said she came in and out probably under 2 hours.
Yep.
So she did not record obviously at the same time as Marcus taping at this point. Marcus came on his own.
No, actually, you know what? I think I got Marcus's stuff on a DAT tape. As far as I remember, I think Jimmy got him just to record the stuff in the truck. Just, a few of his lines, because they had set lines they would do. And I think he just recorded it to a DAT. He brought it to the studio, and then I flew Marcus's parts in to where we wanted them in the theme. That's the way we did a lot of stuff.
So I asked Marcus about it before, and I said to him, Marcus, how long did it take to record this? We're going to studio day. And you know what he said to me?
Mm.
I recorded the song like I record porn. I'm one take Bagwell, baby. And that was it. So his claim is that when he sang those parts, it was on one
Yeah,
take.
I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it. He was really good that way. I mean, I never knew him. I met him, but I never knew him. I mean, we never spent much time together, you know, and of course, once the Buff Daddy thing came out, boy, that thing was huge. I mean, there was no reason for him to change his theme because he'd be changing his brand, and he didn't need to do that.
I mean, it worked on so many levels.
Oh,
He was so
yeah,
great on the mic. He came out, his outfits, his
yeah.
posing, his storylines. I mean, this was, I think, the most underrated wrestler of that generation. I think he's a Hall of Famer. If you look at his whole
Mm-hmm.
body of work, I was showing a friend of mine the other day. I said, look at his finishing move, even, back in the day, his finishing move, the kind of neck breaker off the second rope.
Yeah.
Like, he had it all. He had the charisma. That theme song fit perfectly. Every
Mm-hmm.
time he came out to it, he had that big smile on his face. He was dancing to it. He was posing to it. I
Yeah.
think if there's ever been a theme song that fit a wrestler, it's the Buff Daddy theme song. It's
Oh,
so
yeah.
it's so over the top ridiculous that it's so good. Now, so Jimmy wrote the whole song, I presume then? For your call?
Well, Jimmy and I did. He had, you know, he had the ideas for. See, that's it. This just depends, you know. It varied song to song. If one
Yeah.
of the other of us got an idea, we would roll with it for a while, and then all of a sudden, the other one would go this and that, you know, whatever. I mean, Jimmy and I
Mhm.
we were we were totally together on every one of those themes from the beginning of the sessions to the end. I mean, we did not work independently at all. Generally, if there were lyrics to be written, Jimmy would do it.
Okay.
Only because really at the time you got to figure I was probably busy. I mean, I'm probably busy doing the track, and then he, you know, so it would be likely that like he would say the shouts at the beginning, Buff, Daddy, that type of thing. You know, that would have been the thing, and it was really good because we had we had Mark's, you know, VO stuff, so it was really cool. I mean, another reason that theme works so well is we've got the interplay between Mark and the singers. You know what I mean? It's the way the arrangement works. You know, you've got the shout right from the beginning as the guitar builds up. You know, and then all of a sudden, Mark's there. You know, I'm buff on the stuff, and the girls just can't get enough. And then, boom, we go into the next thing. And I think pretty much, like I said, the idea was not to have Jamie singing like a lead vocal. That was not, you know, that was never the plan. So we, you know, stack up the Buff Daddies in there and the rest of it. And then we tried to figure out, you know, where we're going to put Mark in there. And then that would be how I'm thinking that's how we put it. Most of the time I'd be chugging away on the music, and Jimmy would be sort of, I don't know, he was he's a great idea guy. I mean, that's Jimmy's great strength is he's just great ideas. He's sitting there, we're busy doing something, and all of a sudden he'll go, oh, try something, you know, try something there, try something like this, or put something like this in, or whatever, you know. But so that's usually the way that we worked is, you know, we have a basic frame of things, and a lot of times I would start probably with the drum track, just because a lot of it we had to make, you know, we wanted to make sure we had the pacing, the speed. See, the speed that was always a thing too. You can't. Depends how the wrestler's coming out. So again, for Mark, it was perfect because it went with how he did his entrance. You know, some guys, you know, depending on what they were doing, I didn't always get the feeling that it was a flow. You know what I
Right.
mean? To them moving and the
Yes.
music, you know, being part of it.
But
You
that
know,
one,
we
that
just
one, that one worked for him on, I think, on all levels. Like I said, like if I
oh
had to
yeah,
say what my favorite theme song, as far as for you and Jimmy, what you produced, when I've gone through all of them, that is the one that like is bang on. and I have the ear for it. I can tell you, I love when you put in the instrumental, when you do a quick shout out, when you put the
Yeah.
female singer, when you put Mark singing, it all
Mhm.
flowed perfectly. And that is the one I can say that is the creme de la creme from wrestling. If you want to see a textbook on how to do a wrestling theme song, listen to the Buff Daddy theme song. That's pure wrestling right there. And
Oh yeah, I appreciate that. Because I the reasons you're stating, other than just you like it, you know what I mean.
Mhm.
But the reasons you're stating are the point. A lot of people don't understand that there's X amount of time that the wrestlers are going to have from the time that they're introduced and they come out of the tunnel and they the thing and the rest of it. And are they coming out slow? Are they coming out fast? Um, that was well, it's funny going back to again because it was a big deal when we did the Ultimate Warrior thing. That one started out really, really fast, and it was like I that was the thing I said, how are you coming out of the tunnel? I said, are you, he goes, I'm going to be running. I said, perfect. I mean, that's the kind of thing, you need to kind of see like, how they're going to do it. And then of course, and Buffs, like I said, Buff, I knew exactly what Buff was going to do. Buffs was not, it was a good idea. So it wasn't that hard to do. You know what I mean? Because it was a good idea to start with. I mean, the parts came together reasonably quickly because, we knew what we wanted to do with that. And I think as soon as Mark heard it, I think he loved it. So,
oh, he still loves it. Like he talked about,
yeah.
although he always brings up the American Males one, which we'll get into in a moment when we finish dissecting Buff Daddy. So there's a few other questions I have on that song. We've talked about some of the players now. We have Jamie as the female singer. We have Mark,
Yeah.
yourself, and Jimmy. Jimmy probably wrote the lyrics. You guys came up with the music together. Any other people that we should be aware of as far as either vocals, as far as instruments go? Who else was involved in the final product?
Probably Ralph Santalla played the guitar, although I can't say for sure. But it was an early theme, and Ralph did most of the stuff for me back then. Again, he was an amazing chameleon. You know what I mean? He would come in, and I'd say, I need this kind of thing, this kind of tone, this, and he just click, 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 and it would be there. So, you know,
And anybody else that you could think of, or is that the
no,
main players?
there's nobody else. That's it. The
Okay.
only voices on, I guess, if there was any in the shouts, I guess there is a group there. So if there's other voices besides Jamie, it would have been Jimmy and I.
Interesting. Okay. Because I know Jimmy
Yeah,
is.
be the two. If there was ever any extra vocal stuff that was needed, that was male vocal, that was always be Jimmy and I.
So from the moment this song idea is hatched and Jimmy
Uh
calls you out and
huh.
says, I got a theme song for, I can't do his high voice, but Buff Daddy, let's gotta do it. Gotta do it. He gets all excited. From the time Jimmy suggests it to the time it's done, what is that timeline ballpark, would you say?
Hmm.
Because it sounds like it turns around pretty fast in Jimmy's world,
It does
in your
turn
world.
around pretty fast. I would say probably a day. I mean, uh, we would have put the whole music thing, we would have laid it all out and recorded the background of it and laid out the framework of it probably during the day. I recall, best of my knowledge, I think Jamie came in and did the vocal in the evening. So it would have been done that night, because like I said, we would have had the parts on there already. I would have had Ralph cut some guitar solo stuff just so I had it. You know what I mean? I don't want to have to call him back. So I'd have him play all over the place. And then when we actually put the thing together, then I say, okay, here's where we need guitar solo. Here's where we need this, and, put it together. So Jimmy and I I would say most of the themes we'd start in the morning, start working on it about 10, and we'd break and go get something to eat and see if we could get it finished in the afternoon. And if we had to bring in outside people, we'd bring them in the evening and finish it up then. But that's,
Incredible.
yeah, I mean, that feels like it would have been right, you know.
And your personal reaction from when you heard the idea, when you heard the final recording, what was your personal take on it? Like, and you must have had your own personal thoughts saying either this is amazing, this is ridiculous, I'm not sure about this one, I love this one. Like, what was your first takes on the Buff Daddy theme song? Do you recall?
I really liked this one. Like I said, this one to me it had a very original sound to it. You know what I mean? That's another thing too. A lot of wrestlers, you know, they'd have a certain sound. Some of them even have a certain song in mind. And of course, you know, you always got to try and bring them down. No, we can't use that. You know, the one who pushed the envelope to the nth degree with WCW was Hulk. And I don't remember if you remember how many times it was, but I think it was only 2 or 3 times. He actually came out to Voodoo Child.
Yes, he did. And
they had to pay the Hendricks Foundation unbelievable amounts of money to use it. And I mean, it was ridiculous. It was way too cost prohibitive. I mean, I'm sure eventually somebody said to Hulk, I don't care how bad you want this song. We are not paying out this kind of money every time you want to play it.
but how cool was it? Come on, in the black
Oh,
and white.
are you kidding? It was great.
And the spray painted
great.
belt, and he's playing the belt to Voodoo Child. That was my ringtone for like 15 years afterwards. I love Voodoo.
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
It was so badass.
You know,
it was
perfect.
Yeah.
Some of them, you know, but anyways, there was ones that, you know, I just, but Buff Daddy, I always liked. I always liked it from the, it's so long ago now. I'm trying to remember. I don't remember exactly how we put it together. You know, and also there were so many themes that, you know, you got to figure after a while, we kind of just had a
factory. I mean, over 250 of them. Like, wow.
Yeah.
So another,
basically, Jimmy and I would always start and basically we would go as far as we could, just the two of us. The two of us would try to we would get everything mapped out as far as we could. And then when we got to the part where, okay, I need to have a such and such type guitar part on the thing, because I don't play guitar. And so I would, you know, and then we'd have the guy come in and it'd be like the thing, it would all be sitting there, just like with the singers. It's all mapped out. It's like, here's what we want you to do. And generally they would just be like technicians. They would come in, they would do the parts we told them to do, pay them, they're out the door.
So on another spectrum of another wrestling theme song, this predates Buff Daddy, was the American Males theme song.
Right.
Very controversial because it is so cheesy, but so good. And,
I know. You know, it's really funny. I haven't heard American Males in so long. Let me find the darn thing, because it's like, I'm thinking to myself, I really have to, there we are. There we are.
I was going to play American Males. I love it. They can play it up. Bring it up. It's okay.
Yeah.
No, blast it. It's all good.
Wow.
There we go. There we go.
I just want to listen to a couple of things in this, just to American Males, American Males, American Males, American Males, American Males. I swear, let's do this like I'm thinking Devo when I'm doing this, right? That's what I was thinking in my head. I'm going, this sounds like Devo. This is 100% Jimmy and me. Nobody else.
Howard,
all
the lyrics,
vocals, all
Howard,
the vocals, all the instruments, it's Jimmy and me.
When you see them coming, better run for cover. Girls, you don't need a weekend lover. American Males.
Right.
If you see them coming, you better not listen. You might get be in critical condition. American Males. American Males.
Mm-hmm.
Like these lyrics, like, were you and Jimmy on LSD when you came up with it? Like, wow.
You know, I often would say to people, you know, because they would ask me after they realized I'd been doing it for a few years and I was working with some of these guys, and they go, well, what's it like working with, you know, with wrestlers doing like a music thing? It's like, it seems like that wouldn't be something that would be an easy thing to do. And I said, you know, I swear to God, I said that many of those guys coming in, to me, it was like they were live cartoon characters. I mean, just they were always bigger than life. Yeah, always bigger than life. And you know, they it just was fun. Jimmy and I had some, we had some this one I've listened to it now going, because this is an old one, and I go, oh man. I mean, we did some really silly ones back then, you know. Um, there were some really silly ones. I mean, I'm looking at
Rap
what
is
else?
crap, certainly.
Yeah,
There was a
Big
bunch.
Brother Booty. You ever remember Big Brother Booty? Oh my God, that thing! I couldn't keep a straight face when that thing was being done. Um, yeah, it's interesting. I'm looking at
Yeah.
the first
Well, we're
archives
not
here.
letting you
And some
escape
of
from.
this,
Well, we're not gonna let you
anyway.
escape from American Males just yet, because this is the real
Okay,
Marc Bagwell wrestling docuseries. So
okay,
we to understand Marc Bagwell and understand his legacy before he was Buff Daddy, him and Scotty Riggs were the American Males,
right.
and you're gonna tell me that Jimmy Hart came up with this one. I presume this seems like a Jimmy through and through.
The lyrics for sure. The lyrics for sure. It sounds like the music track might have been me, because the 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 guitar that's on that is me.
Okay.
That's how I know. I when I was listening to it, I go, and and it's funny, the little synth thing that starts the beginning. First thing in my brain, I go, oh yeah, that's that old Roland module. I mean, that's just the way my brain works. I hear things and stuff like that, and yeah, that one. American Males is American Males. American Males. That's Jimmy and I. Oh, oh, that's Todd. Okay, that's Todd Plant. Todd was the singer on Made, American Made, Hulk Hogan's. That's Todd Plant. That's him. I forgot that he sang on this. So okay. Oh yeah. American Males. If they want to talk to you, you better not listen. You better wind up. I love Todd's voice. American Males. Oh yeah. Okay. So then when the chorus comes in, the chorus is Jimmy and me, and the verse is Todd Plant. Man, he sings, he has done so much stuff. I mean, he was a guy that we definitely would have used for the things. I mean, he could come in and he could sing like Sammy Hagar. It was like amazing. And then there were several bands around Tampa in that he played in. He played, well, okay, it's funny. I guess it would have been, it's it's always a small world when you're talking about things, in the music business. Um, Ralph Santalla was the guitar player in a band with Todd Plant called Millennium. That was they were both from the same band. And then we ended up using both of them doing stuff in there. But Todd, I actually also played in a prog band with Todd. We recorded 3 albums, somewhere in somewhere would have been around this same period too. A band called Cryptic Vision. There's some videos that are out of that band and stuff like that. Todd now is fronting a couple of big tribute bands. He's fronting a Doobie Brothers tribute. He's fronting a Sting tribute, and there's a third one. I don't remember what it is right now, but he still works around the Tampa area. And that he's he's
got big lyrics. Like, he's got a big set of lungs there. Like, he really belts it out.
Absolutely. I mean, that's, all the stuff, any of the stuff I did with him, and and he, like I said, the Cryptic Vision stuff, he sings really well on.
I pictured him like a 6'5", like a big guy, big lungs. Like, that's how I saw him. But you never know. Maybe
no, he had, 6 foot, good looking guy. I mean, this sort of curlyish hair, and he could look like a rock star.
We're gonna dig him up as well, because we're gonna talk to him about recording American Males. So now we know who sung the main vocals there, and plus yourself and Jimmy in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Any other characters to this production, as far as you could think of, that were involved with American Males?
So let me just look. I don't think there's. Where are we in the song? the heck's the time on this? Yeah, this is just going to repeat now, I think.
Correct.
Because of course they never would have got this far in the broadcast.
No,
You know,
no.
most of these things never average more than. Oh,
Right.
Unpredictable. I'll
That's
tell
right.
you what.
We saw that last part. I forgot about that. That's right.
Oh man.
Todd really let it loose on that one.
Wow, that's funny. That's again, this is a really old one. So this is, I played a show with Todd. When was it? 2 years ago? A year, maybe 2 years ago, something like that. So I mean, I do talk to him from time to time. Like I said, he's still in the Tampa area doing,
Wonderful.
he's got one of those great voices. I mean, if ever there was a call for an actual lead vocal on something, hopefully people didn't, think we were using the same guy all the time, but we did because he was so good,
Please let Todd know Jonathan, the chosen lawyer, will be locating him and we'll be having
Okay.
him on at some point. That's amazing.
There you go. He'll be so happy for that. He loves the stuff. He loved all the wrestling stuff. He always was at, always calling me, asking questions about, hey, is there something new coming up? Something like that. He was always a fan. So not all the guys were like that, but Todd was.
We'll let him even reenact the singing. Not a problem. I've seen Mark sing it, but we'll see Todd singing it.
Yeah.
Now, Todd, to put it together, also, you figure would have been very quick in the studio, like he would have been an in and out type of scenario in recording that?
Yeah, we would put this together probably. I would have done the music track at some point, during the day. And we probably would have, again, have Todd come in at night and put it together. That was our normal sort of thing. Jimmy and I would usually get together about 10 in the morning. And then we'd work, take a lunch break, just try to cover any loose ends we could think of so we could finish it that day. Because that was always the thing we tried to do. We tried to get it so it was done. I mean, and I, especially when I got to the point technologically where, I could burn the masters and everything right in my little studio office. So I mean, it's just Jimmy's walking out the door with the master that's going to the truck, and yeah, they all kind of vanished somewhere too. I was trying to think there's a few rabid wrestling theme fans out there that, I've had them contact me, and they started asking me about alternate versions of things that they heard on certain broadcasts and the rest of it. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. It's like, I will be the first one to say, now Buff Daddy's probably not one of them, but man, several of the themes had alternate versions. And sometimes that happened because the wrestlers would use them, and then they would say something to Jimmy, hey, can we do this with it? And that was the single greatest reason why they liked to work with Jimmy and I, because it gave them complete freedom, whatever they wanted. I mean, we could do it, but I mean, we could turn it around. So the very next show they were doing, there's the new music. If you go through the traditional channels and that, WCW used to use a lot of library music, and which that was not a great thing necessarily for them either. I mean, that's how they started out. Right. And when I first started talking to the production department at Turner, I said, this is a little bit of a problem for you guys. You realize you can't resell any of this. I said, any of these themes that are library themes, you can't do it. It's like a good example would be Goldberg. Goldberg's theme was some library thing or whatever. I mean, it was not something that so that was always the way around it, was to write something original. Just write something original, and now there's no problem. Now you can, you can put it on CDs, you can put it on videos, you can put it on whatever you want. Library music is intended for television producers that need to use music in the background. You know what I mean? But when you're putting something that to be identified with an artist or a wrestler or a certain show, that's got to be an original piece of music, or otherwise, you're stuck. Library music has a very specific non-resell clause to it. I mean, that's
I'm
just the way it
so
is.
glad you brought it up because I was going to ask you on the music, and I was going to ask it respectfully because I don't know, I'm not in the industry. Are a lot of these themes that you and Jimmy produced, was it based on library music that you guys redid, or was it all original? Sounding like those 250 plus.
It could have been a little of each. I mean, I didn't listen much to the library tracks, unless there was something that somebody really wanted me to hear. Like if somebody said, "Hey, I really love the guitar sound on this library track. I want to make, we want something that sounds like this," then that would be the reason I would listen to it. But otherwise, I just, I would say to them, look, I don't want anything to do with listening to library tracks, because the thing is, if I borrow anything from them, unintentionally, I mean, I don't want somebody coming after me saying, that I ripped them off. It's like, that was never the intention. That's not what we were doing here. But a lot of times I try to just, let's try to push it, some other way. But some of the guys were pretty, I mean, I don't know. Some of them were easy. Like, what was one of the fastest ones put together? Who's got to think now? The guy that came out to the James Brown thing.
The cat, Sonny.
That's it. That's it. The cat.
With the red.
Oh my God, that was so much fun. I
Love
swear to God, I put that track together in an hour. Because I knew what we were going to do. I had some little James Brown samples, you know what I mean? They were just him doing little shout outs and things like that. I want to kiss myself and stuff like that. I put that track together. I'm thinking to myself, James Brown. It's like, well, man, I know exactly what. And I went and found the sounds and the rest. I don't think I spent an hour putting that track together, because I knew exactly what I was wanting. I mean, I literally was trying to recreate something that just sounded like James Brown. I didn't have to listen to a James Brown record or copy anything. It's like, no, I know what James Brown sounds like. And so that's that one, for instance, I would have gone to my friend Jim to play guitar on, because that kind of, oh, he was perfect at that on guitar. So, I mean, that would have been a one take wonder for him too. I would have said, "Hey, James Brown." He goes, "Okay." And just start playing. So, oh, that was fun. Yeah, that was,
I'm going to ask you the last two questions on American Males, just again, because I got to get
yep.
these down for Mark. You and Jimmy singing the background singers. How
Yep.
did you guys keep a straight face? Like, how many takes did that take? Like, because if you think about it, it is kind of funny and kind of silly. Or were you guys able to get in that moment and just get it down? Like, how did do you remember?
We most of the time we're pretty good at. I mean, at even when something was really hilarious. I mean, um, I kept thinking when we were recording Rap is Crap that somewhere along the line we were going to get into trouble from somebody. But then I realized, I go, no, we're not. It's just fun. And, but no, we would have been, we're pretty good at that. You know what I mean? We know if something's, yeah, even if it's a little bit silly or stupid or something like that, we could be serious long enough to record the part.
But but your reaction when you heard American Males, you heard of the idea of it, did you give Jimmy a little bit of a crooked look and say, really, is this what we're going to be doing here? Or
I might have said that, but I mean, it would have passed 5 minutes later when we got digging into it. It's like, because you pointed out earlier, some of these things are so diverse. They're so like not like each other, I always thought one of the coolest ones musically was Eddie Guerrero's.
Oh yes.
Eddie Guerrero's. Eddie lived in Tampa. I mean, Eddie was a nice guy. And he just, I forget what he gave us a little bit of direction on it. I want to say he wanted almost like a Santana, little bit of a thing, but that was about it. Like, I mean, so it was different for everybody. It just depends. Mark would remember better than me how much the ideas for both American Males and Buff Daddy, that would have been a conversation Mark and Jimmy would have had before it came to me. So he would have a better insight on to whether, he had some of that in his head, whether some of that was Jimmy. I'll tell you what, Jimmy can write hook lines like, I mean, he just got a natural talent. And you know what? He's a good singer. I mean, we were gonna do we actually worked on a Gentry's remake, which was a band he sang with in the late 60s. And but nothing really came of that. It was too bad, but it was fun in that. But I mean, that's the beauty of Jimmy.